Have you ever noticed that no one prepares us for aging? After turning 50, I discovered truths that weren't in any book, that no friend had the courage to tell me, and that completely changed the way I live today. Some of them hurt, others scare you, but all of them are real. If you're already past 50 or getting close, you need to hear this. Because I wish someone had told me early. Like and subscribe, because here you'll find a space where your pain isn't ignored, it's embraced. Because you still have time. I'm over 50, and I learned these lessons the hardest way possible. In the loneliness of a Saturday, in a visit that never came, in a body that no longer responds the way it used to. You don't have to wait until life pushes you against the wall to understand certain things. I want to share these 5 realities with you because maybe there's still time to change your path. So take a deep breath and listen with your heart. After 50, time changes its texture. It doesn't slip through your fingers anymore. It drops, like a broken hourglass, where the sand no longer falls slowly. It collapses. You look back, and the last 10 years feel like they passed in one long weekend. That feeling of, one day I'll do it, one day I'll learn, one day I'll go back, starts to hurt. Because now, that one day has an expiry date, and what used to be too soon suddenly becomes too late. It's cruel to realize that time hasn't shrunk. It has only become more precious. You start measuring your days not by the clock anymore, but by the chances you wasted, by the mornings when you could have gone for a walk, but stayed sitting in silence, by the words you swallowed, the invitations you declined, the pauses you postponed, waiting for the right moment. But here's a truth you may have never said out loud. Time won't slow down for you, and it won't wait for you to recover before moving on. We spend our youth as if we own time. After 50, we realize we were always just guests. You start remembering people who are gone, and you ask yourself, what if I had called earlier? What if I had said, I love you more often? But time doesn't give back what pride delayed. And now, everything feels more urgent. But not rushed, present. Because after 50, time isn't measured in hours anymore, but in intentions. What you do today carries the weight of eternity, because it might be the last time or the last chance. It's not about running faster, it's about living more consciously. Are you truly living, or just postponing life out of fear of the clock? Maybe the most important question now isn't how much time do I have left, but what will I do with the time I still have? And that question leads us straight to the second reality, the one that doesn't hurt inside, but outside. After 50, the body starts whispering, and if you don't listen, it screams. It's not just a sore back. It's the walk that used to be easy and now takes your breath. It's the knee that warns you before every step. It's the sleep that no longer restores like before. It's the mirror that starts to reveal stories we tried to hide. The body is a silent diary. Every excess you committed at 30 now signs its presence with pain. Every sleepless night, every ignored stress, every rushed meal returns like a letter without a sender. But the message is clear. It's time to care. Or to pay. You realize health isn't a luxury for those with spare time. It's an urgent necessity for those who still want to live with dignity. It's no longer about having a beautiful body. It's about having a functional one that gets out of bed without creaking, that follows your steps without asking for rest too soon, that lets you dance without fear of falling, hug without fear of breaking, breathe without a machine's help. The body after 50 is like an old car. If you looked after it well, it'll still take you far. But if you ignored the signs, it breaks down in the middle of the road, without warning. And there's no use chasing after lost time when lost time has already become routine. The medicine that was occasional becomes company. The checkup you kept postponing now becomes mandatory. And that phrase, I'll deal with it later, slowly turns into a whispered regret. I should have done it earlier. There comes a point when the body doesn't want performance anymore. It wants respect, because it's not old age that weakens the body. It's neglect that wears down the road to it. And maybe you still have time to make peace with your body, to listen to it, to accept it, to care for it not out of vanity, but out of love. Because when the body starts charging, It's a sign it has already given you so much, and now it just asks for something in return. But the body isn't the only thing that changes. Sometimes what hurts the most is what quietly disappears, without a sound, like bonds, like people, like places that no longer belong to us. After 50, the world grows quieter, not a peaceful silence, but a strange emptiness. That friend who used to call every week now replies late. That house full on Sundays today holds just 2 plates on the table. And Christmas, once filled with shouting, laughter, kids running around, and people squashed on the couch, now fits in a few chairs and many memories. Life empties from the inside, without big warnings. A grief here, a distancing there, a message that never came back, a visit that stopped happening. After 50, you start to understand that time takes people away in many ways. Some leave the world, others leave you, even if they're still alive. And we learn, the hardest way, that keeping ties requires mutual effort. But most of the time, only one side keeps trying. You look at your calendar and see there aren't many invites anymore. You check your phone and realize no one needs your presence as much as before. The kids grew up, the friends got married, the parents aged or passed away. And there's a pain that's hard to name, the pain of still being here and yet feeling absent from the world. But amid all that, there's also a small revelation. You discover who stays, even in silence, even from afar. Because what sustains the soul after 50 isn't the number of people around you. It's the quality of the bonds that survive. It's that friend who calls just to hear your voice. It's that neighbor who knocks to ask if you've had lunch. It's that grandchild who runs into your arms as if the whole world was you. Sometimes it's not loneliness. It's emotional maturity. It's the filter that time builds, and it only lets stay the ones who truly matter. So, value it. Value the little that's still whole, because their time is running out too, and the bonds that remain are the last threads keeping us standing. But not everything that falls apart is human. Some things we ourselves let go of, and we discover that living with less can finally mean living with lightness. After 50, objects start to weigh more than they serve. You walk into a room and look around. The drawers are full. The cupboards are overflowing. There are boxes you don't even remember packing. And yet, there's still an emptiness in the middle of the room. It's strange how we spend so much of life accumulating, buying, storing, stacking, protecting things as if they were pieces of us. But there comes a moment when the excess starts screaming, and what once felt like achievement turns into noise. You realize that those clothes you'll never wear again, the papers that no longer mean anything, the gifts that lost their sentiment, all of that takes up more than just space. It takes energy. It takes the past. It takes away what could be lighter. After 50, you start dreaming of less. Less clutter, less obligations, less noise, and more peace. Some people downsize their homes. Others start donating. Others simply stop buying. Not out of sadness, but out of liberation. You start to understand that what made you happy isn't stored in boxes anymore. It's printed in experiences, in memories that don't need a frame to survive. Because one day you realize life doesn't fit on shelves. It fits in glances, in laughter, in hugs, in stories that still move you even without a photo. And that's when everything changes. You understand that the true treasures of life don't gather dust. They gather meaning. After 50, accumulation becomes a choice. And choosing to live with less can be the most powerful way of saying, from now on, I only carry what makes me well. But there's another kind of baggage, even more invisible, the one you carry in your head. Because more cruel than the weight of things is the weight of a mindset that stops you from moving on. After 50, what you think starts shaping how you live. It's no longer the body that rules everything. It's what you believe about yourself. Because there are people who reach 60 with the eyes of youth, and others who, at 52, have already given up on dreaming. Aging is inevitable, but aging bitter is a choice. And the saddest part is that this choice is often silent. It starts in throwaway lines. It's too late for me. That's for younger people. I've lived what I had to live. No, but have you really? How many possibilities die before they're even born, just because someone decided their time had passed? How many passions were never lived? How many projects never even began? How many trips, reconciliations, friendships were left behind? Because the mind shut the door before the heart could open it? There are those who retire from life long before they stop working, and there are those who wake up just when the world stops demanding. Because quietly, maturity hands you a rare gift: freedom. The freedom to choose who to be with, to say no, to rest without guilt, to care for yourself without having to explain. The difference between someone who ages with lightness and someone who merely survives isn't in the wrinkles, it's in the eyes. After 50, youth doesn't live in the body anymore, but it can still live in the soul, in the desire to learn something new, in the joy of a good conversation, in the spark that appears when you allow yourself to start again, even without guarantees. And maybe this is the deepest turning point, realizing that the time you have doesn't need to be long, it just needs to be true, and that the future, however short it seems, can still be your best chapter. But for that, you need courage. Courage to let go of old certainties. Courage to swap complaints for action. Courage to accept that, yes, you still have time. Time to change. Time to be. Time to live. Now, close your eyes for a moment, because it's time to look at all this calmly, from afar, and let the pain turn into awareness. These are the 5 realities no one told me about aging. Time, which runs faster than we expect. The body, which starts asking for what we've put off. The bonds, which slowly unravel, almost without us noticing. The things which lose their shine and start to weigh us down. And the mind, which decides whether we'll live what we still can, or just survive what's left. Yes, these are hard truths, but maybe what hurts most about them is that we feel all of this in silence, in the middle of routine, in the middle of life, in the middle of the fear of being forgotten. But if you've made it this far, it's because something inside you still beats, still seeks meaning, still refuses to accept that it's already too late. These truths, however cruel they may seem, are also liberating because they wake you up, they cleanse you from within. They pull you out of autopilot and put you face to face with the only thing that matters: the time that's left, and what you'll do with it. You can't go back to 30, but you can look at the years ahead with the clarity of someone who finally understands, and with the tenderness of someone who doesn't want to waste even a single sunny Sunday. Because maybe life after 50 isn't about reinventing yourself. It's about rediscovering yourself. And rediscovering here means making peace with what's past, keeping only what fits, and moving on, lighter, fuller, truer. Today, you're not alone. Today, you're not late. Today, you're just waking up to what's always been inside. Your life, still possible, still yours, still alive. Which of these 5 realities spoke to you most? Which one touched that hidden spot you almost never share with anyone? Write it in the comments. I read every story as if they were letters that never arrived. Sometimes it's there, in a simple sentence, in a quiet outpouring, that the beginning of healing lives. And if this video touched you, I want to invite you to keep this conversation going. In the next episode, I'll talk about the 5 biggest regrets people carry in old age. Regrets that don't appear in photos, but that weigh heavily in silence. Watch it, because maybe hearing those truths now will help you not carry the same weights tomorrow. And remember, you still have time, not to start everything over, but to start with more awareness. What truly matters? If today hurt, it's because something in you is still alive. And where there's still life, there can still be choice.